Hi, welcome to this video. So today we are going to look at what is carbon capture and storage, otherwise called as CCS. So CCS is gaining much more momentum these days, and in the COP28 as well in Dubai, there was a lot of talk about carbon capture and storage, mainly also pushed by the fossil fuel industry. Now, carbon capture and storage is, as name suggests, is a simple idea that pushes that the atmospheric carbon can be captured and stored somewhere either in the beneath of the land or somewhere else in the sea. Now, of course, this idea would sound as a super cool idea, that we have increasing atmospheric carbon dioxide and methane, and if we can capture these atmospheric methane and carbon, what a cool idea this will be if we can capture them and store them somewhere else. Now, this is what is the idea, of course, but then what is the current situation of this technology, and what is the newer technological innovations that are talking about this particular technology, and also who has been pushing for this technology development as well as innovation, and what is the ongoing carbon capture and storage scene in the world now, and who is using that, and for what is the use of the carbon capture and storage at the moment globally is also something very important for us to understand. So let's look at who are using the carbon capture and storage current. Is taken from the Geoengineering Monitor, a website that looks at and monitor geoengineering projects, which I will talk about in a separate video exclusively. Now here you see different innovations and projects going on all around the world. So you see greenhouse gas removal projects in blue. You also see solar radiation management, you see weather modification, and so on. So what you see from this is that there are carbon capture and storage projects and programs going on in many parts of the world. Now, this has been mostly done by the oil corporations. Now, oil corporations, of course, in the process of drilling oil and in the process of creating oil extracted, there is something called enhanced oil recovery. Now, enhanced oil recovery is a process where the lost fuel is being again enriched, and then that fuel is used into the uh, oil or the extracted oil that has been produced. So far, this is mainly used for enhanced oil recovery, where the recovery of the oil takes place from this, which means basically the use of carbon capture and storage so far has been for the oil corporations or the fossil fuel corporations by themselves. Now, uh, carbon capture and storage is also controversial because of the fact that now one of the promise of the carbon capture and storage is that we are going to be immediately going to be able to capture and storage the global greenhouse gases such as carbon, methane, and other greenhouse gases. Now, how far that is possible now, immediately in 2024? Now, looking at the available technologies, looking at the deployment of those available technologies, and the ways in which how these technologies are managed, and the powerhouses that these technologies are managed, it is impossible that we are able to make any substantial carbon capture and storage. It's also because this technology is super expensive, and the output from these are also going to be really less. So, this is the context. A huge section of scientists call carbon capture and storage as one of the dangerous distractions in the process of our efforts against climate change. Now, what can be uh, done, or can something be done about some of these technologies? Of course, all around the world, there are scientific innovations going on. Now, if some of the scientific innovations tomorrow or day after or next month or next year finds that, and then they are going to be able to deploy these technologies cheaply in most part of the world, particularly in parts of the world that are the most climate vulnerable, that's going to be really big and really great innovation. But that is not the story that we have now, at least. So at this moment, these technologies are of course being pushed then by fossil fuel corporations for them to buy more time or to continue their business as usual. Of course, this is not only the fossil fuel corporations but also the interested parties and their supporters, the kind of countries who are engaged in fossil fuel industry, fossil fuel business, so on. So that is the reason why at the moment we do not have these technologies to have massive carbon capture and storage and then solve the crisis of climate. Now, of course, what we have in terms of science telling us that the year 2024 was, of course, uh, is going to be one of the most hottest years that would also witness the highest number of climate catastrophes in the world. Now, going with all of these, what needs to be immediately done is massive worldwide reduction of greenhouse gases. Now, that is going to be the first and the immediate original climate action. Now, that need to be pushed by everybody who are not only being impacted by climate change, but everyone who is concerned, who is really concerned about the impacts of climate change. Now, that is the context in which carbon capture and storage is being pushed. Now, of course, personally, I am not against any scientific discoveries or innovations or deployment of that. Now, tomorrow or day after, if we have a super technology that is going to be able to do this, uh, able to be deployed in a cheaper way, and if that technology is able to massively capture the atmospheric carbon, methane, and other greenhouse gases, of course going to be welcoming that. But at the moment, what we immediately need is, of course, I'm not against any funding or scientific research, but at the same time, what we have as the immediate uh, uh, original climate action is the massive reduction in greenhouse gases from the sources. That's what we have to do immediately, that we ourselves in most part of the world reduce the greenhouse emissions. Now, that is what we need. In doing that, of course, the countries as well as the corporations who have emitted historically need to take a lead in this according to the UNFCCC frameworks and the deadlines kept by the Paris Agreement. That is what we needed immediately, and that is what is the push for the carbon capture and storage is going to do. Now, if the push for the carbon capture and storage is going to dilute the original climate actions, then of course we have to blame the proponents of the carbon capture and storage.